Hello, hello. Welcome. Sorry, what a horrible noise to be greeted with as I scrape my chair, which is on wheels, to the side, just as I've hit live and it's actually connected. Well, hello. Welcome to day number 67 of 365 days of either live streams or videos. And today's topic is still on the topic of visibility, because that's what I speak about. As you can see down there, I'm Jenny Kovacs, the visibility queen, known as the Queen of Being Seen, known internationally, I should say, as the Queen of Being Seen, because you being seen, you being heard, you being unapologetically and authentically and confidently visible with lots of credibility so that you can sell yourself, your values, your things, is why I get out of bed in the morning. And today I am going to dedicate this to a conversation that I had very recently when somebody was speaking to me and they said that they really struggle with their messaging. So I want to give this topic some context because it is around visibility, and I'm also going to share something for you to see as well. So what is the struggle with messaging and how do you know that you might have it? Now, there's two kind of sides of the street here. There are those of you that are employed professionals. It might be your job to sell. So you might be in the sales team. It might be your job to sell the services and products of the business. But more frequently, I speak to marketing directors, I speak to HR directors and HR personnel. And sometimes sales teams, but it tends to be mainly those two, and often founders of companies as well, because they'll say things like, I've got an operations manager, I've got customer services people, I employ consultants, but they don't really know how to sell us well, or they don't really know how to show up on LinkedIn, or they don't really know how to show up on social media, or I'm taking them to a conference and they really don't like networking. They're not really sure what to say. But ultimately, we are either selling ourselves, selling our value, selling something we believe in, selling a concept that quite a lot of the time, especially for the smaller business owners, and when I say smaller business owners, I mean business owners who normally it's just them and a couple of freelancers, but normally they're kind of like one person band businesses. We're normally selling something. And yes, for some of us, we are selling our products and our services, but for many of us, we're selling an idea, a concept. So, for example, my work around visibility and my trademark system, the Visibility Vibes, yes, it's about visibility, but it's actually selling the idea that we can think differently about how we're visible, that we don't have to connect in ways that make us cringe, that we don't have to be forceful and really pushy in the way that we approach people, and that we can be visible in a way that sells without having to kind of be somebody else, not ourselves. And also, there are ideas of thinking differently about what it takes to be visible. Some people fear that I'm going to come in and teach them dancing, pointing. Some people worry that I'm going to tell them that they have to look or sound a certain way, they have to be a certain way, they have to be online 24/7. They completely forget about the fact that a majority of my visibility work actually started from people being seen offline, and to this day still supports massive growth for those people that are doing stuff offline. What happens is they see the results of others online and feel like they're somehow missing out. So one of the surprising things that you might be surprised to know, although my work helps people to stand out more on social media, I am not a social media expert. I'm not a social media, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word. I'm not saying that you can only do this with social media. In fact, a high percentage of my clients, I've actually helped their visibility without social media. And it's had great results for them. It's meant more sales, more people know about their brand, more people know about their work, more people know about them. But it's not necessarily about going viral, comments, likes and shares, I guess is the easier way to put it. But there are a lot of things in there. That's why I had to segment them into the system, the vibe system, as you can see there. And if I tried to, every time I spoke to you, tell you all of that all of the time, it would just feel really confusing. I mean, you might have heard all of that and gone, oh my gosh, that's so overwhelming, which is where the importance of messaging comes in. So if you are an employed professional and you find yourself sometimes, and sometimes secretly, struggling to be able to articulate the value proposition of the business, this is why. On the flip side, if you are a business owner, you're a founder, you're a freelancer, you're a consultant, you're somebody who's been thinking, I really want to start a business, or I have been in business, maybe you're an author and you want to get yourself out there. This comes up when you are talking about your products and services. And the pattern that I tend to see with the business owners that I work with is that they will create something first and then attempt to sell it later. Now, there are all sorts of different ways that you can sell your services and your products and services, especially if you are a service-based business, i.e., if you're coaching, freelancing, consulting, you're selling something that people can't see. And the reason that I include authors in this is, yes, you're selling a book, somebody can see it, flick through it, look on Amazon, do the read through or whatever. But the concept and the message behind it, the deeper message, and for when you're selling your services off the back of that, that's the harder thing to see. So, you know, I've worked with people who have been menopause experts, for example, and they've written books, but they want to maybe consult or take their work into corporations, or they're looking at accrediting people with their programs. And, you know, that can be for anyone that's got an accreditation service, as a coach, as a consultant, as a mentor, or anybody that's selling programs. You're selling something that can't be seen. So when you struggle with your messaging, it can feel, it can put you in a place where you have like a crisis of confidence. You start to doubt yourself. And if that seeps in and stays in, it feels like a downward spiral. You start to doubt your worth or your value in anything else. And in the time that you are creating and making your products, your services, and everything else, but not telling people about them because you're worried about the messaging or you feel you have to finish it first, what will be happening is you won't be getting any or many sales. You will feel more and more confused. And typically, you will chop and change what you're doing, what you're offering. And I've seen this happen in a number of ways. People will say they're doing one thing 1 minute and then change it the next month, the next couple of months. So there's an inconsistency there. So I'm going to show you a little model, which, even though the Visibility Vibes was created in 2010, and I've been speaking about it for then, coming up to 15 years, the 15-year anniversary, I actually used to explain to clients privately why it mattered, why visibility mattered to them or their business, why being visible mattered to them, and how to do it. But I never explained it publicly. I just thought everybody understood the importance of being visible. And if you've got a business and you want it to thrive, there's a level of visibility that you have to get comfortable with, but there are a gazillion different ways to do it. And those gazillion different ways depends on who you are, who your audience is, how your business is run, how you demonstrate your credibility, what you do and how you do your work. All of these things need to come into effect, and you've got the answers to all of those. So once I'm kind of sat with somebody and we're working through it, then and they kind of tell me, you know, where they're at with these different areas, it makes it very easy for me to give them back. This is going to be a better strategy for you, but maybe not this yet. Or at first, we're going to start with this, then we're going to move to that, and then let's explore this. What often happens is, especially when people are working with me longer term, it makes sense, it resonates, they start to do it, and then they don't have the consistency that's required to put it out there. So I'll talk to you about something that you can do if that's you. And I feel like maybe the spate of 3 days or 4 days of sun has gone to my head, because I've been thinking about something for quite a few weeks now, and I've decided, screw it, just do it. So I'll tell you about that in a second too. So, in fact, let me tell you now, and then I'll go through the different things to look at. So I have, at the moment, I'm streaming this on my LinkedIn page, which is, you'll find me Jenny Kovacs. I'm on there as the Queen of Being Seen. You'll find me on YouTube. If you type in the @ sign and then Jenny Kovacs, my name there, if you're watching this video, if you're listening, you're going to think, what's she pointing to? Just basically where it says my name. You will find my YouTube channel. Please go over and subscribe. I would love you to. And you'll get any additional videos, some of which are unlisted. So you'll get additional videos there too. And if you are a Facebook fan, then you'll find me on Facebook. If you type in the @ sign again, Visibility Vibe, you'll find, without the S on the end, you'll find me quite easily. But my page is Jenny Kovacs, the Queen of Being Seen. I am also on Instagram. I'm also on X and Twitter and various different places online too, and offline. So a couple of things to think about. One of the things that people struggle with their messaging, and I'm kind of skipping a layer here, but because they struggle with their messaging, it means that they become inconsistent. And actually, you'd think that, well, let's get your message crystal clear and then go out there in the world and start speaking about it. But when it comes to being visible, actually, it's the other way around. It's the consistency that counts first. And it's the reason why in so many of the services and programs that I offer, I focus on people getting into the habit of consistency, whether they do it for 5 days, whether they do it for 12 days, whether they do it for 30 days, whether they do it for a whole year, whether they intend to do it for every day for the rest of their life, whether they intend to do it 2 or 3 times a week. Again, it depends on what I'm about to show you. But if I can get people to enjoy the process of consistency without being burnt out, without feeling overwhelmed, that is key. That then opens up the confidence, the credibility to be able to talk about the thing that they do and have the tools to then create the content so that they are going out there and doing it. And what's funny is whenever I've started off with showing people ways to be consistent, then when it comes to the content piece, they might sit and scratch their head for a few moments, but they've actually got a vehicle that they can then go, oh, there's this, there's that. And I tend to build that into the consistency piece. So quite often I'll have a quick conversation with somebody, it can be 10 minutes, and then I'll go, okay, so here's your content. You've just told me this. My average is about 30 pieces of content. Sometimes a little bit less, 26 or so, that, but not much more than that. And other times people have gone away with like 40, 50 pieces of things to say. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is genius. Now, if you think about it, if you've got 50 things to say and you say them once a week, that's a year's worth of content. No trying to type into ChatGPT, no trying to pick people's brains to find out what you should put in, not spending hours and hours and hours and hours sat on free webinars trying to piece something together because it's worked for them, but it doesn't seem to be working for you. So what I've decided to do on LinkedIn, I've actually got a free group. It's a space called High Impact Visibility. And to be able to join it, you just go over to my name, you'll see High Impact Visibility, you tap on it, and I'll let you in. And it's something that, although I started a few months ago, is quite new. And the reason that I put it together was, regardless of who you are, if you want to be more visible and you are commenting under my stuff on LinkedIn, then because of the way LinkedIn is designed, people will see what you've typed, and there's kind of no private room, no green room. So High Impact Visibility is like the green room. I do share stuff in there periodically too, but you can ask questions and you can all get to know each other in there as that group grows. But what I decided to do was to make it very easy for people to get that consistency, regardless of what they do, regardless of whether they're an employed professional, whether they're senior management level, whether they're just getting started, whether they're a graduate, and also regardless of whether they are a business owner, whether they have a team, whether they're already well known, whether they're just getting known, whether they've written a book or a gazillion books, whether they are a freelancer, whether they're just trying to find their way. And for some of you, you're side hustling, you work and you've got a job and you want that to be more visible. Consistency is key. If I was to swing my camera around, you'd see my board. And I've described this as organic visibility solutions for people in business who are trying to get their work seen and known. So if you are an aspiring COO and you are working as a team leader or in the management position, but you're seeking to be more visible, this is for you, because you work within a business and you're seeking to have your skills known. Okay, so career or self-employment, entrepreneurial. And in order to do this, I think having a resource of things that you can go to and having the ability to ask your questions in a confined space is definitely something that I want to give you. So if that is something of interest to you, and I can't believe I'm going to do this in this way, I'm going to open the doors for people to get access to this for £9 a month. No contracts or anything. You join, you join, and every month you pay £9 from the date you join. And once you decide, no, actually, this is fine, I've had enough, you're free to leave. But if you want to stay, you'll have new content in there every day. What you don't get is personal calls from me, because that would be ridiculous. But what you do get are the ability to ask questions, the ability to receive answers, videos. You also get written pieces, all sorts of different things, audios, mindset tips, things that will help with that consistency. Because when I get people over the hump, two things happen. They then go on to create content and have the ability to tell their stories and dip into the Vibe system. Other times they feel done. They're like, brilliant, that was the thing I was struggling with. Now I'm posting every day, I'm good. At some point, they will realize that there's no point posting for posting's sake. You need to have some sort of almost strategy, some sort of plan behind it. So I turn up and do things like 365 days of lives. And I'm sure anybody else who has ever attempted this or done anything similar, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get through the 30 days, the 365 days, the 12 days, whatever time slot it is. And that's their main focus. But there's a strategy behind this. It's not manipulation. It's not trying to twist and turn. But I need to have a plan behind it. And as this is the second time I've done this, I have been more astute this time in putting into play what's of service to you, what's going to help make you more visible, and what's going to help you to be more consistent. So if this is something that you would like to do, if you're watching back on the replay, definitely type in the hashtag vibes with the S on the end. But if you're watching this and you'd like to know a bit more about joining us for the high impact visibility for consistency and high impact, because that's what you want it to do. You want to start off with good foundations, not just kind of throw things out there and feel silly while you're doing it. Then just either send me a message or type in the comments, I'm in, and I'll contact you and send you the link to get started. And the quicker you make the decision, the better the benefits while we're growing that group. So some things to think about when you're struggling with your messaging. Okay, I'm just going to put that like that. Hopefully you can see in front of you your ultimate visibility. I call it the ABC because really it feels as easy as ABC. Now, I know that this has gone up to 2019, but it's an old slide. I haven't updated the date on it. So here's the thing. In the middle of this Venn diagram is the visibility sweet spot. That's what the V indicates. It's a visibility sweet spot. And whilst it would be a good idea to do all three of these things simultaneously, let's face it, a lot of you don't have the time to do it. You know, you're spinning plates, you're doing other things, you're managing teams, you're managing life, you're caring for people, you're doing 101 other things. So my advice is to have a look at what each section is about and then dive more deeper into the section that you need most. Now, if it's any consolation, I still use this for myself. Sometimes I'll focus on 2 areas. Sometimes I'll simultaneously focus on 3, but often I'll focus on 2 areas, but it will be based on what I'm doing at this moment in time. So if you're struggling with your messaging, then I would say the place to dive into first is definitely A, not because it's the beginning of the alphabet, but because A stands for your audience. Who is it that you're speaking to? Now, some of you will say, I'm speaking to a few different types of people, which is okay if you've been doing it for a while and getting the results that you want. But if you're just getting started or restarted or just pivoted, my suggestion is focus on one of the people that are in your ideal client avatars and speak to them, really hone in what you're saying to them, and that will actually help you with your messaging. No formulas, no scripts. I'll show you more of how to do that within high impact visibility and break it down more specifically, but there'll be things for you to be able to do. Those people will know who you're speaking to. And then once you have started to generate that interest, maybe sales, maybe inquiries, might be leads. Once you've started to do that, it's then that you stack the call and you can then speak to other people too. I'll show you all, I'll show you how to do that so it's not confusing and that you feel confident when you're speaking about it. So the second piece is B, which is for business. Now, depends on the business you're in. If you're an author who is also a speaker, for example, and you're happy to travel internationally, your strategy for visibility will be very different from someone who is maybe a consultant that only works on site. And as they work on site, they do work in a certain way. They don't mind being on site in New York or in London or in Tokyo, but they don't want to try and shoehorn in other pieces of business. So I see a lot of people that do a lot of offline stuff with their clients and get a lot of offline results for their clients, trying to act as if they are the latest online internet marketing guru. And there's a mismatch. And that confuses the message that you're sharing with your audience, and it confuses who you're speaking to. Okay, so it's not that you're doing anything quote unquote wrong, which is the feeling that a lot of people, by the time they get to me, say, yeah, but I feel like I'm doing it all wrong, or I feel like I'm not very good at this. You're not doing it wrong. It's just about the positioning and how you do it. So really important to get that, the B sorted out there. And then the C is for credibility. Now, this is important because a lot of people think that being visible and showing their credibility means boasting, means focuses on them, when actually it's the quickest way to actually turn the audience off. Yes, by all means, position why you're the person doing the thing you do, but there are key areas to speak about when you demonstrate your credibility. One of them's about you, but the rest of them are actually about lots of other things too. So if you are struggling with your messaging, make sure that you know at least one type of client that you're speaking to. And if you've got more, that's fine. I'll show you what to do with that with the consistency stuff. Make sure that you are making an offering that aligns with the business that you do. So for example, I've had clients who have been speakers and authors, but I've also had clients that have had one client had brick and mortar business, therefore sold physical products. Another client sold products but online. So there were slightly different ways for those two to operate, even though they were selling tangible, you can hold it in your hand type products. So it helps if you can get clarity with that so that your messaging then becomes clear too. And in terms of credibility, when we make the credibility just about us, what that does is it clouds the vision of who we're speaking to. People don't understand who we're speaking to. People don't understand why, because if I came on here and everything was about me, I've done this, I've done that, I do this to be visible, it would get pretty boring in a hurry. And actually, the only people that might be interested in that might be my family. And even they might be a bit like, yawn, 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 is there anything more to this? So that's it for now. I'm going to stop there because it's 25 minutes. It's like a little mini masterclass. Let me know what you got from this. Like, type it in the comments. And the other thing to do while you're watching this, because I really love the diversity of people that watch these sorts of things and are connected with me online, do type in the comments your name and what you do. Let people know. Let me know. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.